Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Toni and I'm a homeschooling mom to 4 kids, and I have a treat for you today. First of all, we're gonna be talking about history, which is super fun because I love the history curriculum that we're using, which is Biblioplan History. Super cool history, which works for the entire family. You teach one kid, you can teach a couple kids, you can teach the entire family if you wanna do it that way. So we have done it actually many different ways, and I'm gonna share with you how we're doing it this year. You're gonna come along with us as we do a lesson, and I will show you exactly how we do it. But the treat is, I've got a coupon code for you guys today. I am working with Biblioplan this year, and they're offering you guys 15% off of your entire order if you use my coupon code, which I'm gonna put right here. So make sure you use that, because that is a steal. So you can get your entire package, all the stuff you want, and get 15% off. And that is so exciting. They don't run a ton of deals, so I was really excited to be doing this. So thank you, Biblioplan, for sharing that with us. I will also put that in the description box below. When you're done watching this video, go ahead and head over to Biblioplan and check out what you want to get and use my code, and then we're good to go. And then you know what you're doing for next year. Okay, so let's get started. If you guys want to see how we use Biblioplan in our homeschool, then let's go. I'm going to show you real quick before I bring my girls in here to do the lesson with you. I'm going to show you real quick what we're using this year. We are on year 4. We're using the Remember the Days book, year 4, which is modern days. They have ancient times, medieval times, early modern, and then modern. So this has been really interesting. So there's a ton of components. I will talk about what those are, but just real quick, like if you go on their website, you'll see there's a ton of stuff that they offer. So they have the textbook, they have all these supplements that you can use. There's like too much. You can't do everything. So you got to pick and choose what will be a good fit for your family, what will work for you. So I'm just going to show you what we're using this year, but this isn't necessarily what would be best for your family, because this is just what I chose for us this year. We've used different components to Biblioplan every single year that we've used it, because they have so many different options. So I like to switch it up. So first of all, we have the Remember the Days book, which is the textbook, and we will show you inside of this in a little bit. I chose to have the hands-on maps. So both of my girls have a book of the hands-on maps. And this is, hands-on map for middles. So they each have one of those. I'm only doing this with my 2 older girls, which are in 6th grade and 8th grade. I also have the cool history for middles, and these are just questions, kind of like a quiz, but the way we do it is like an open book quiz, but you can do it however you want to do it. But we use these. I will show you inside of those 2 in a couple minutes. And then I also have the family guide. I always get the family guide. I haven't used it as much this year as I would like to, just because we're just getting through life the best that we can. So I haven't used this a ton. This actually does have a ton of resources, ideas, things that you can really beef up your history and kind of tie everything in together. But I didn't use it a ton this year, but I'm still going to show you guys how you can use it. So, but they also have timelines. They have notebooking things. They have, they have a ton of stuff that you could do. So I'm just going to show you how a typical lesson works for us this year. It's pretty like stripped down. It's not super fancy, and it doesn't take us a ton of time. So this is kind of the basics, and you guys can beef it up the best you can if you want to, if you choose to do it that way. But I'm going to bring my girls in here. We're going to do a little lesson and read about whatever we're reading about today, and then we'll go from there. So let's go. Okay, so I've got my 2 girls here. Liliana, who's in
6th grade.
And Sienna?
Who's a senior.
And Sienna, who's in
8th
grade. Okay, so here's how we do it. We sit on the couch and we have a cozy blanket and we read out of this book. So we go through and we read this together. And this is like a really awesome full colored book. It's got tons of pictures throughout here, and the girls will read stuff. So you'll notice that you'll hear me reading, and then all of a sudden I'll say, Sienna, read this one, or Liliana, read this one. And they read all the other things. Like I read all the black and white. They read what's underneath the pictures, and they read all these little blurbs and things, all these little facts. They read those, and it's just a way to keep them engaged and stuff. So we're going to read chapter 24, the Spanish Civil War and the Rise of Hitler. A stab in the back. Back in chapter 18, we read how World War I wound down. The beginning of the end came in the summer of 1918, when boatloads of American troops showed up in Europe. With their help, Britain, France, and the other allies climbed out of the trenches, pushed the Germans back. By fall, the German government was falling apart. Things had gotten so bad that on November 10th, Kaiser Wilhelm II fled the country. With the emperor out of the picture and the Allies pressing in, Germany needed a new government fast. The question was, what kind of government? Conservatives weren't too popular just then, for they had just lost the war. Liberal Germans saw a chance for a new kind of government, a republic. There were also communist Germans who wanted what the Russians were having, a communist revolution. Sienna, why don't you read us the green box, nice and loud.
A conservative is someone who wants to stick to the old ways. A liberal is someone who wants a big change.
So sometimes it's like vocabulary words or things just to really understand what we're reading about.
A republic is a country run by representatives who are elected by the people. Weimar is a city in east central Germany, about 140 miles southwest of Berlin.
Okay. The liberals got their way for a while. The same day the Kaiser left, liberal leaders announced the start of a new German republic. Historians called the Weimar Republic after the city where it wrote its constitution. What's this one say underneath?
Armistice that ended World War I was signed in a now famous rail car called the Campagne wagon. The name came from the French forest of Campagne, where the car sat for the signing.
Okay, so that was just a little picture here. We look at the picture and she reads what's underneath of it. So we're going to keep reading. I'm not going to film the whole thing, and then we'll show you a little bit what we're going to do after we're done reading. I will share, typically you take a chapter and you split it up to work for 3 days a week. So today would be Monday, so we're going to read a third of the chapter. And then on Wednesday, we read a third of the chapter, and on Friday, we read a third of the chapter. So what we're going to do today, you won't see all the activities done, but I'm at least going to show you what we would normally do. So they are going to do maps today so that you guys can see what the maps are like. But we're going to finish reading, and then we'll get into that. The second weakness was a part of the Constitution called Article 48. This was the part that handed out emergency powers, special powers in times of emergency. If the country was in danger, then the president could do whatever it took to save it, even take away the Germans' rights. He could silence their free speech and shut down their free newspapers. He could search their homes, read their mail, and listen in on their telephone calls. He could lock them up without a trial, and even take away their property. Both these weaknesses the president chose, the chancellor, and Article 48 would be terribly important in years to come. Doesn't that sound like a dangerous thing for the president to have that kind of power? That you'll find out that is going to be a very dangerous thing. This guy, you're going to find out, had way too much power. So, have you heard of Adolf Hitler? Mm-hmm. Adolf Hitler. The Weimar Republic was just finishing its constitution when it ran into its first big problem. It started in 1919 when the Big Four finished the Treaty of Versailles, the peace treaty between Germany and the Allies. As we read in chapter 20, the Treaty of Versailles laid the whole blame for World War I on Germany. It also demanded huge payments from Germany. The total amount of allies demanded would be worth more than $400 billion today. It's a whole lot. Germans howled with rage at the Treaty of Versailles, insisting that they couldn't possibly pay that much. But the Allies didn't budge. The war had cost them millions of lives and mountains of money. Now Germans were going to pay, whether they liked it or not. Liliana, why don't you read us this stuff?
To inflate money is to make it worth less than it was before. In other words, the price of everything goes up.
Inflation. Have you guys heard of inflation this year?
Yes.
That's happened a lot. So that means the price of everything went up. So that means money's not worth as much. Okay.
Hyperinflation means that prices go up ridiculously fast. The economy is a country's financial fortunes. When the economy is good, most people do well. When the economy turns bad, people do without. Marks were German money.
All right, I just finished reading. I also just broke my tripod. Great. So that's why we are so close on our faces because my tripod broke. Super, super great. Okay. So anyway, we are going to now switch to the girls are going to go do their maps. So sorry if I'm not holding this still. I'm not a vlogger. Okay. So the girls are going to go into the schoolroom and they're going to do their maps, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. So let's go. Okay, these two girls are now going to do their maps. So what page are we on? So we are on week 24. So this is what it looks like. It has the week here. So year 4, week 24, Spain's troubles. So this is what a typical map looks like. Explain to me, girls, how this works. What do you do, Sienna?
We go down the list and it tells us what to mark on the map.
Okay, so you do all these things. Like first one says label and color blue the bodies of water: Mediterranean Sea, Caspian Sea, Adriatic Sea, Black Sea, Baltic Sea, North Sea, English Channel, and Atlantic Ocean. So they will color all those, label and color blue all those on the map. And then they go down and do the next one. Now, we either use our own map or there are maps in the back of here. So they do have map helps in the back here.
Oh, this is what
that looks like the
everything.
exact same thing. Yeah.
Marked.
So they use this to make sure they label it on there, or you can use your own maps. We also have, sometimes the girls use this big map book, which we really love. Isn't this the one you guys use kind of the most? So this one is really cool too. But you can use whatever map you've got, and they just fill this stuff out on their own. So they're going to go ahead and do that now. So the girls are just going to go through here and step by step fill out their map.
Okay, next is... Did you color it?
The nice thing is this is something they can do completely independent. I don't ever help them with the maps. They're old enough to do this on their own. They help each other find things, they fill it out, and this is a nice, completely independent thing for them to do. And it's only once a week. So here is what their finished product for the day looks like. They've got all their bodies of water labeled. Sometimes it'll tell them to draw an arrow to certain things or stripe certain things, or they've got different countries labeled and things like that. So it's definitely a nice, easy thing to be able to reinforce the different places that we go over. So you guys don't do the challenge though, right?
We did.
You did? Good. Okay. So the challenge they can do or don't have to do, and they did, because my girls are just amazing. Amazing. So now let's take a peek at the cool history questions. This is what the cool history for middles looks like. So it has questions for each week to go through and answer. So like here's week 1, they've got questions. They just write the answer down here. When you order Biblioplan, they give you the answer key in your email. So don't lose that, because I think the first time I didn't realize and I deleted it or something. So I had to email them and they sent me another one, which was nice. But this has all the answers in here so that you can easily check it or they can check it. So I actually just print all these out and my girls check their own stuff. So the chapter that we're doing today for Cool History Middles, which they will do this on Friday. We wait till the end of the week when we've read everything. So they just go through here and answer all these questions. We do it as an open book like quiz, and they are allowed to use their book to find all the questions. So there's 16 questions here on the front, and then there's challenge questions. So you can decide if you want to do the challenge questions or not for them. There's a couple other things. We don't do that. And then there's an optional bonus activity. So we mostly just do the cool history questions on the front, but it's just a good reinforcement for making sure we all understand what we just read. So that is the gist of what a lesson of Biblioplan looks like. Obviously, it looks a little different depending on the day, because we either do maps or we do the cool history questions, or you may choose to do the timeline pieces. We've done that before. You may choose to do the notebooking pages. You may add in read alouds. There's so many things that you can add to it. There's videos, all kinds of stuff. And the family guide that I didn't show you guys, I'll show you a little peek into the family guide real quick and just what that has. But a lesson is going to look different depending on what different components you choose to have in the lesson. So this is what the family guide looks like for year 4. I'll just show you what a typical lesson would look like. Let's find week 24, which we were on today. So first of all, they have all the annotated book lists. That this gives a description of the different books that you could assign, which is really nice, that at quick glance you can see, oh, is that a story that we want to go over or not? All these stories have something to do with what we read in history. They're also broken down by age. So these are all 3 to 5 readers here. Then there's missionary, 3 to 8 readers. These are all 5 to 8. So these are different books that you can assign. Some of them are audiobooks, available as audiobooks. Some are just regular hardback books, regular books. There's 5 to 8 missionary books. There's 8 to 12 high school readers here. So it's nice that it's broken up by age, and they do have some little notations that say things like if you can get it as an audiobook, which is really nice if you want to do that. Just if you really want to enhance what you've read, this is really great. If you want to add more of that reading into your lessons. They also have a whole section on family read alouds. There's optional read alouds for this unit, which the unit is broken up, but it'll tell you like for week 24 to 25. This one's 25 to 26. It'll give you a couple different options. So they've done a great job with this family guide here. There's optional resources and fiction. These are all movies here that you guys can watch that has to do with that. And I really think those would be great. I usually don't get to that. I would love to. I really think if you planned ahead and make sure you had those things done, it could really add to the understanding of the history. So I want to do that more. This year it just didn't happen, but we have done that in the past, and it's really made things come alive. There's online videos, there's hands-on fun, different things that you can do, music. All this is in each week, in each unit and things like that. So they have so much. So the family guide is really, I definitely think that you should get it, and just, you're never going to do all of this, but you can do some of it, and it really adds to your history. And then now you're at unit 5. This just has a ton of stuff, lots of really valuable resources that you guys might want. So I definitely would highly recommend, unless you really don't think you'll use it, getting this family guide. Don't forget to use my 15% off code if you guys want to get 15% off of whatever you're going to be ordering from Biblioplan this year, because that is just going to save you a ton. So make sure you guys use that. I'll put the code down here, and I'll also have it in the description box below. And if you guys have any questions about anything, what to order or how to order, or just what we've used, any questions about it, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for being here. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.